We're live.
All right, we're ready. Let's get it.
39, dude.
39. Fuck, man. Yeah, I think as far as age wise, I think 39 is the age where you finally realize, like, fuck, man, I might actually be 40 soon.
It's like following you.
Yeah, and you're like, then other people still, oh, you're 40. I'm like, not yet. Not yet.
Fuck up.
You're like a week left to your birthday. Like, let me enjoy my last fucking week of my 30s, you know? Yeah, 39 is cool. It's pretty much like, I think just the resignation of like, you're going to turn 40 and everything good and everything bad that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, fuck, man. All right. But also I think it gives you a little power turning 40, which we'll get into the next episode.
Yeah.
But I realized at that age, like, it's like an official fucking adult where you start to recognize, like, dang, I'm like my dad's age, you know?
Right.
And you start to realize that every adult that you thought had their shit together was just fucking winging it. They really had no fucking idea.
That's how I feel like, with my parents. I'm like, oh, yeah, you don't know what you're doing either.
I know. Yeah, we're all just winging it, man. So today's episode, we are filming the day before Thanksgiving. So you guys will be hearing this the day after Thanksgiving. So hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. And
Stomachs are full.
Dealing with all your family and stuff. And
in-laws.
in the cold. Oh, dude, it's cold in the warehouse now. I'm so stoked. It's cold.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I love going on runs at night, and it's just like my lungs hurt because it's so cold and breathe. I'm like, it's not even cold like California cold, you know, but it's not like, I love it. It's the best.
I love it out here because like I can actually wear clothes. Like I can wear pants, I can wear a jacket,
Right.
and not sweat my ass off. It's nice. Like I'm wearing, if you guys in audio, you should look at this one because I look really good right now.
He looks amazing.
My Barbados jacket. It's tight, dude. Come see how sexy I look.
Dude, come check it out. And speaking of clothing, we were talking about before. So I usually wear all black, and I did.
Yeah.
But I was like, I feel band tee inspired by Ryan.
There we go.
You
All
always
right.
wearing band tees. So I'll wear my Blink one. Dude, a couple weeks ago, some guy comes up to me. It's just like a random, maybe my age. Name one song by Blink 182.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up,
Yeah,
man.
it's my favorite track. It's all fuck you.
Dude, and it's just like, I can name all the albums. I can name a whole bunch of songs.
And you know when it comes on,
Yeah.
you're like, oh.
I don't know you. I don't need to answer a question about you.
I'm not a super fan. It doesn't say like I suck Blink 182
Yeah,
dick. It's
yeah.
like, hey, I like the band. It's cool. Like,
Exactly.
like don't expect too much out of me, bro.
And I was like, okay, Enema of the State, Dumpweed. Like I was just like going like a whole bunch. I was like, do you know who the singer is? Tom DeLonge. They're from San Diego. You know what band he had?
Yeah.
You know, Boxcar Race. Like, how far do you want me to go? Like,
Dude.
I know who they are.
Yeah, someone did that with, I was wearing a Misfits shirt one time and they're like, you know any songs? I'm like, from which lineup, dude?
Yeah.
Like, which, was it when with the main singer or was it when fucking Danzig was singing? They're like, oh, like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's always the fat, dumpy, like, basement dwellers that ask you that too.
You and your SpongeBob shirt.
Yeah. Like, shut the fuck up, nerd. Nobody's talking to you. Sorry, I don't speak dork. God, we need to bring back bullying, dude.
Dude, I know.
These fucking
I'm
incels.
I can't bully.
Well, all the people who are like shooting up schools and shit, it's all the fucking incels. It's all these little fucking bitch boys who are like, everybody's catering to them all the time. Like, I think, man, there's something to be said for just fucking going with the way of the world. And if you do shit that is dumb or that pisses people off, you should be aware of those consequences.
Yeah.
Like PB, Pacific Beach used to be that way. Like, you just go out and you used to know that if you mouthed off in PB, you were going to get punched in the face. That was just kind of the way it was. And everybody was super, like, not nice and respectful, but like you kind of knew what was going on. And there's safety in that because you know, if you're not a dickhead, you're not going to get fucked with.
Yeah, man.
But if you do stupid shit, like all these prankers now going up and like doing all this stupid shit, did you do that to the wrong person? They're not going to ask you. They're just going to beat the shit out of you before you can say it's a fucking prank. And then you're going to explain it to the fucking doctor, like why your teeth are missing. Like, it was a prank, bro. Like, okay.
How'd that work out?
Yeah. Good luck. Hope your fucking YouTube views cover that.
Yeah, dude. I know.
Fuck, man.
So just like, quit being, dude, don't be that person. If they're wearing a t-shirt, like a friend's shirt, don't ask, like, name it, like, prove your point. Like, bitch.
Like, are you in the band? Shut the fuck up.
Exactly, dude. Do you even get to see them live, bro? I'm like, shut up. Too much.
Frustrating, dude.
Dude, and their tickets are so expensive right now. That's another story.
Oh, really?
Blink. Yeah, because they're back on tour. Bro, so expensive.
Bunch of fucking NPCs taking up space.
Dude, hometown show. They did 2 days, sold out in like 5 minutes. It's like people are reselling for like $1,000 for like shitty seats. I'm like, what the fuck? It's because Tom's back in the band. Tom came back. fuck you, man. Whoever called my shirt out, I know my shit. But yeah, 39.
Yeah. I think also too, to go with this kind of theme of communication and style. And I think it's important to choose the right people, man. Like I was having some cigars and some drinks with my buddy Steven last night. And he's starting up he's been a W-2 employee at a company for a long time. And about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, he decided to he's over it. He wants to do his own thing. And he started a meal prep company called Juju's Kitchen. And it's doing good. And he and I talked. We used to go like once a week and work out, and we just get a pump on and, talk about life and business and all that stuff. And so he's been doing good, man. He's been growing his business, and it's funny, like we caught up last night, haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks, and then we got together and just went in depth on like what's going on in his business, what's going on in my business. And dude, anytime you do that with anybody, you'll find there's so many parallels, because business is basically the same. Mm-hmm. Like you have clients and customers, you have manufacturers and orders, whatever. And then you have like the structure of how you build everything out. And 99% of businesses are exactly that way. It might be, a construction manufacturer, you got different clients and different projects, or you got apparel, or you got, meal prep, but it's really the structure of it is essentially identical. You have customers and you have a product or a service, and you have to kind of balance growth with making money. And it's a fucking tightrope to walk, man. But I think if you guys are listening, then you probably relate to the entrepreneurship journey. Oh, yeah. And dude, it feels fucking lonely a lot. It feels very alone if you let it. And I think it's important that if you can find, like if you're listening to this and you live like, oh, I don't live in San Diego, or I don't live in a big city or whatever, just go find anybody who does. It could be a dry cleaning business, like anything. Just go find somebody who's in the same stage of business you are, or within a few years, and just go like put together a dinner of like 4 to 6 people, pretty small group, and just get everybody together, put them on like a DM thread so they can kind of get a feel for, I like DM threads because like you can get on and off it easier. Like don't put anybody in a fucking text message thread, dude. That's such a dick move. WhatsApp threads are okay because you can delete yourself, but like do not fucking throw people unwanted into a text message thread, please.
God. And you got all these numbers, and
and it's like, not, oh my God. So
who's 621?
Yeah, I know. And you got to program it. But if you guys don't know, number one, don't do that on text. If you do that on WhatsApp, it's better because it automatically assigns people's names to the number. So it's like a text thread, but you have way more control over it. It's easy to manage. I like DM threads. Actually, now that I'm saying this, don't fucking put me in any. Okay? I'm not talking about me when I say this. So don't fucking put me in a bunch of fucking threads. But find people that are in your area that you think are in the same phase of business, or a little bit above or a little bit below you, and put together a group. Say, hey, next Friday or next Thursday, choose a night that's not too crazy out, maybe like a Thursday or a Wednesday, where an entrepreneur would be able to go out, but like a regular W-2 person probably is going to wait till Friday, right? And you'll have more space at the bar. You'll have more room to talk. You can get a better table in like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, and put something together and be like, hey guys, like, I know we're all operating businesses. I know these are the things I'm struggling with. I'd love to get you guys' take on this. What do you guys say we, meet up for dinner on next Thursday night? Now you have 6 people in there, probably 3 or 4 will show up. Out of those 3 or 4, 1 or 2 will be pretty cool. And then you made a new friend and you have a lot in common. You can learn from each other, and then just keep doing that. Like every month, do a new group together, and you do that. I mean, 6 months, you're going to have a really solid crew of like, 4 to 6 people around you that are going through the same thing you are. And you're going to help level each other up. I mean, even if you can't solve each other's problems, there is value in sometimes just being like, yeah, bro, I get it. Shit sucks.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you just need to say, fuck, I don't know what to do. And like, hey, I don't either. But, we're going to fucking keep going. There is a lot of that.
I think it's cool that you might be the first one to initiate that thing too. I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't think about like meeting up with other, like newer entrepreneurs, the whole networking side, where a lot of people do feel alone, but like you might be the one that initiates it, and people are like, oh, that's kind of cool. Now I have this little group that like I get, or they might not know the people within that group, but now you have like that connection now, and now you guys can network together. And I think it's a really smart idea to do, and something that me and Dylan should be doing more.
Dude, it's hugely useful. Like I was talking this morning with a guy I was DMing Baja Racing, this guy Mike, and Baja Racing on Instagram. And we're just he was just randomly, he's like, hey man, this is, we've been communicating a little bit before, but it's like, hey man, this is the problem I'm having. Like, look at what's going on here. Like, I don't fucking know what to do. And I'm like, I don't know what to do either, but I've seen similar situations. So I'm like, dude, let's have a call like tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I just on my truck, pulled into the office, and it was 9 o'clock, called him, and we talked for like 20 minutes. And I don't know how valuable he found the information. Hopefully it was good. But I think through talking about it, because I know nothing about that space, it's like off-road supply. I know how to spend money on off-road stuff, but I don't know how to sell off-road stuff. But looking at the problems he was having, I was able to offer like maybe some outside perspective on, if this were my job, these are the things that I would be asking, and these are the opportunities and angles that I would look at to see what the opportunities are. Kind of like shake the tree and figure out like, okay, what's the low-hanging fruit? What's ripe? What's ready to go? What's the easiest solution that we can find out of this? And through that 20-minute conversation, I think we uncovered a few kind of unique opportunities that might be buried inside that problem. And hopefully, one of those things will pan out. But it was funny to see like that conversation with Steven last night, that conversation with Mike this morning. Dude, it's all the same stuff. It's just normal entrepreneur problems. But sometimes when you don't have anybody to talk to, you think, fuck, the world's against me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I'm having all these problems. Nobody else seems to be having these problems. Like, bro, everybody is having these fucking problems. Everybody. Right. Just people don't talk about it, man. And you don't need to go like spill your guts on fucking Instagram in a post like, oh, woe is me, blah, blah. Like that's not what I mean when I say like share it, but just understand that there's a difference between being authentic about your problems and oversharing and just being like obnoxious to everybody where like every post is like just woe is me. Yeah, totally. That's not good either.
And I think it's cool that you said you don't know that niche. You don't know that industry of selling that stuff, right? So it's like, but even for him, getting an outside perspective as someone that doesn't know it, but business, still is very helpful. Yeah. You might not know video, but if I said it plenty of times, I don't know exactly what route to go with this. Oh, dude, have you thought of this? Oh, fuck. Same thing with, I'm editing another, like my girlfriend, like you should do that. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? You're right. But you just talk about it to other people and it definitely helps out.
Dude, it does, man. And that's what I mean. Like all business is very similar. And we all think we're just a unique little fucking pod in our own little space. And sometimes you are, but even if you are, there's a lot of templates that you can overlay over your own situation and find a lot of similarities. And that roadmap will really help you kind of like get out of that funk, or at least provide a direction where like maybe you don't know what steps 1 through 3 are, but you see like, okay, step 5 is I can create this, and this is a way out. I just need to find a person who can do this, or a person who can do this, or I need to develop this asset or capability, and that'll like get you like the first toehold in that direction. Then you start going. But I've had a lot of conversations that have completely changed the trajectory of my business. Like a couple conversations with like Aaron Wagner was hugely beneficial in like completely crafting the fulfillment side of the company. And then Fleischman was a huge help with that. Like it's been like small conversations too. And it's nothing to them. They probably don't even remember what they were talking about. But to me, I'm like, fuck, bro, that was like gold,
Something that's important too is you take you say it, I always forget how to say it, but you take as much information as you can from something. Like you do. Like how do you usually say that? Like if you go to an event and it was $10,000, but you come back, you're like, that wasn't worth $10,000. It's like, it's your responsibility to pull that and like what you want out of it, So I think that's a huge thing too, is like when someone's here to help you, they might not be feeling it, but like you take away what they're saying,
Yeah, it's up to you to solve your own problems. Like nobody's going to solve them for you. If they're willing to help you find a solution, that's great. But even if they find a solution, it's up to you to do the work. And a lot of that is just recognizing like what you've been doing wrong. And it's scary to me when people do the same thing, when I see people doing the same thing again and again without changing anything. I'm like, bro, what do you like? that's a recipe for disaster, because if you don't change anything, you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result. Mm-hmm. And you can only do that so many times before the boat sinks. Mm-hmm. You know, like you have to plug the holes in the boat as they come up, and the boat is always getting holes put in it from a variety of angles. And if you just like, well, we're just going to keep going, like, you know, like maybe
on a prayer,
but it's better if you fucking plug the holes, you know? Yeah. Jesus, you can't just like positive thought it, you know, you got to do the work too.
Right now, dude, we have no excuse with social media in the aspect of like what you said, like don't share like the sob. There's different parts to that. Show that stuff like later to feel that people understand.
Be real, but like measure it out.
Don't be the person where it's like, oh my God, again.
Every fucking thing, yeah.
Because we all know a person like that. But use social media in the aspect of like, do people want to talk to you? You always say it. Do entrepreneurs love talking about themselves, their business? You know, so if you ask them questions about their business, how like I have this on the side, what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to grow this. I know you're really great here.
Yeah.
You know, I have a question. Bam.
It's all on how you frame it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You can get some really high level people to, you know, to help you out with stuff if you frame it in the right way. But if you just were like DM like, hey bro, I need to pick your brain. Like, fuck off, dude. Like nobody is gonna fucking let you pick their brain, you know? It's like verbal fucking ice picks.
Unless you're gonna pick my brain out like a Chargers game or a fucking Padres game in a box and you can pick my brain.
Oh God. Yeah, man.
Just kidding. But I know entrepreneurship's not easy and I know it's stressful, right? And Ryan and I kind of came into the studio today and we're like kind of low energy. Mm. And I was telling Ryan, I'm like, I kind of felt this way in the last 2 weeks, low energy. It's just because a lot of things are happening. And that's me taking my health more in consideration, like working out a lot, working a lot, you know, and just doing that whole ordeal. And I actually had like just low energy. But right now, I'm like the most clear and the most at peace I've ever been. And it was recently, maybe 3 months ago, I started having like really gnarly chest pains. And for a while, I thought it was like, I've been having those chest pains since I was like in high school, but it was like really bad. I was like, hey, usually it's like Pepto or Advil helps, but it wasn't helping. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor and the doctor said, do you have anxiety? It's like, fuck yeah, all the time. And the doctor said, yeah, just don't do that. It's like,
yeah, that's great. That's the best rich person advice too. Like, stop being poor. Like, just stop it.
Stop having anxiety. Like, well, why do you have anxiety? I'm like, I don't know, run my own business. Like, I just have anxiety. I've always had anxiety in high school. I was that kid where I'd wake up, I live 5 minutes from school, drive. But I'd always think, is there going to be a parking spot for me? And I'd be like, oh, like, of course there is. But why am I stressing about stupid shit? Like, is somebody going to be sitting in my chair when I'm going to the office? Like, did I do my homework? Of course you fucking did it. Like, why are you worrying about it? Like,
worrying about the unknowns, yeah.
And worry doesn't work, you know? And I take that a lot into my business where I really just focus on the things I can control because that's what I can control. I cannot control every single outcome. I can't. I could wake up early, go to the gym and be nervous, like, oh, am I gonna have a good workout? Like, are people gonna look at me, whatever, right? And I get all anxiety and then I go and the gym's closed for the day. And it's like, oh, why did I stress for 30 minutes about that stupid shit? And it's the same thing with business where it's like, I wanna make millions in the next month and next year. That's hard. But if you really stick to the consistency of just like stacking those wins, you know, that's what I realize now is like, just stack those wins. Like wake up a little earlier, go to the gym every single day, or go to the gym once a day. And then the next day go on a hike, then go on a run the next day. You know, it's like all these things, but you still have your goals and stacking the wins. But it's just the biggest thing is the stress management, just realizing you're in the position where you are now and that's completely normal.
Dude, yeah. And if you let it, I mean, life in general is fucking stressful. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if like, if you let it, even going to Starbucks and getting a cup of coffee can be fucking stressful because you're like, oh my God, is there gonna be a line? We're gonna say, maybe I'm gonna say the name wrong. They're gonna make fun of me. I'm gonna miss my pickup and I'm gonna spill it. I'm gonna there's a million things that go wrong getting fucking Starbucks. But I always like to look at it when I'm calculating like things to be worried about is worst case scenario. So worst case scenario, what, I fuck up the name of a coffee order, so it's not a big deal. They're not going to like shoot me. You know what I mean? Like, it's a venti, dickhead. So I'm like, whatever. And I'm, funny enough, I can just play it off.
Yeah.
Or if I miss it, or like maybe I spill a fucking drink, I'm like, okay, I spill a drink, and then maybe I get another one. Like that's not. These are easily solvable things. But I find if I find myself worrying about something, I'll automatically go to the worst case scenario. And once I realize in 99.9% of the cases, it's really not that bad. Right. What's going to be the worst case scenario. So then it makes it easier for me to just put it away, put it in my pocket and be like, you know what? It's whatever happens is going to be fine. So I don't need to worry about that because I know what to do even in the worst case scenario. And it's not that bad. And I find if you do that, it gives you a lot more mental bandwidth to focus on the things that actually are important. So if you have, like, say you're dealing with a really like important or high stress or highly volatile business situation or negotiation or something like that, that is something you need to focus on. So you're going to have a lot more bandwidth to focus on that if you're not worried about your Starbucks trip or fucking getting a parking spot or or what to wear and all these minuscule things. But I think if you let life overwhelm you, it absolutely will. It will absolutely fucking drown you and all this stuff because there's as a human, there's infinite amount of bullshit to worry about. We have fairly complex, full modern lives, and there's a lot of things that can be embarrassing or bad or whatever it is for your negative in all of life. And if you let it, it'll fucking drown you. So I think it's important to recognize what to focus on. And by default, by focusing on that, everything else can get muted. But if you don't know how to mute it, it's that same thing like, well, just don't stress. Like, okay, how the fuck do I do that?
Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, I know. So I think a prioritization approach is really useful for me, and where I prioritize it by in my daily life, like before I go to bed, I'll look at my schedule for the morning. And before I go to bed, I'm like, fuck, what time do I got to wake up in the morning? What do I got to do? But in order for me to go to sleep, I look at the schedule for the morning, be like, okay, here's what I got. Here's what I need to prep for. Here's the mindset I need to be in this time of day or whatever. And then I got it covered. So it allows me to go to sleep less stressed because I have everything scheduled out. And that's why I'm so big on the schedule, because without that, I would be fucking stressed about going to sleep, because it's so, how it is. Your days are so busy and there's so much shit you have to get done. And especially in the beginning, it's all you. It's you doing everything. And if you skip or miss one, sometimes the results can be like pretty detrimental. But I find that helps a lot. And then say I have those things in the day that I got to prioritize. A lot of those I go through, like, what's the worst case scenario if I don't do this or bomb this or whatever. And then I identify that and pull it off the table, because most of the time it's not a big issue. But say I do have something big where it's significant and we have to focus on it. I had a lot more clarity by having these systems in place so I can strip everything else away and focus on this one thing. But even when I'm focusing on that one thing, like whether it's a conversation or a negotiation or fixing some problem for a client or whatever it is, within that, I still look at what's the worst case scenario. And when I find out what that is, that allows me to develop a range of like, okay, worst case scenario, best case scenario. And there's usually like 2 or 3 things in between. So we can work out like, okay, what's the best outcome we're looking for on this? And how do we achieve that? Okay, if we can't get A, how do we get B? If B falls through, what do we do for C? And then so you can work backwards, but I always prioritize it by what's the worst thing can happen, what's the best thing can happen, what's the outcome of those things, like the secondary and tertiary effects. And once I do that, it makes it super clear what to focus on. Because if you don't do that, I don't know how people get through the day. It would be so stressful just to not plan and just go through the day winging it. I mean, there are days like that where it's good to just let off the gas and fucking just mentally float, but you can't do that on like, you have to plan those days. You can't just be like, have a full schedule and be like, fuck it.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, no, I agree. Where I feel more clarity, like I said, and you said, in what I can control, which is preparation, what I have prepped. The things that give me anxiety, the things that get me stress are things I can't. So it's more focusing on the things I can't control. Let go of it.
Oh yeah.
And it is hard. But it's the preparation that's going to take a lot away. If you're just prepared, be prepared. But the things that you're like, are they going to be closed? Am I going to be laughed at? Am I going to, all this things going through your head, stop. It's a muscle that you have to practice. Where you really, like whatever. A really great show that I think it will help a lot of people. One of my friends, Paul, told me to watch it. It's on Disney Plus. It's called Limitless with Chris Hemsworth. And the premise of the show is he has 6 challenges for each episode. So 1 challenge for 6 episodes. So like the first one is him walking across like a huge plank, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet in the air. But it talks about like how to overcome anxiety, how to come up like all these type of things. But they have a doctor with him the whole time explaining like, how do you get through that clarity when it's foggy? All these like scientific things. And it all relates back to breathing. And we forget about breathing. But you don't realize you're breathing right now. But that's how you're alive. But the thing is, when you really focus on your breathing, when you're in that stress, it's a fight or flight type thing. You can control your brain when it's like just breathing in and out. But like there's different exercises to go about it when you're in certain situations.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah. And it's a trip. It's like you do it every day. That's how you're alive. That's how you're walking. So like, do you think it will help with something internal? Of course it will. You just have to do it right. A lot of people, like to me, I vaped forever. Like I loved nicotine. I loved smoking, just like that head rush. I did it for years. But then once I started having that chest pain 3 months ago, like I completely stopped. I threw it away and like I haven't done it in 3 months. And it's like the best decision I've ever made. Like I'm not like, that was a huge crutch for me where it's like, oh, I get a little stressed, hit the pen, like I'm chilling. But it's like, no, and now you're really facing it, and those problems and you're doing it in a healthy way. And it really just comes back like when you're hitting that vape, you're just breathing. You're inhaling breath and that nicotine, like it's going to make you buzz, but it's the same thing. If you just kept breathing really heavily for a minute, you're going to get that same head rush. It's not going to be instant, but it's the same exact thing.
Do you think it could also be something like you just have like a habit that calms you no matter what it is? Like even if it's like you go through the motions of smoking it, but you don't actually smoke it.
That was a trip. That's exactly what I did. It sounds so stupid, but when I was smoking my vape, like I just put my hand and just do like 3 deep breaths doing that. Because that's what I would do. And then it just like slowly dissipated, And then now I'm like, I think about it when I'm drinking. I'm like, oh, that sounds nice. But it's not like in the beginning where I'm like, fuck, dude, you get through 30 days. You're like, okay.
Well, it's funny too. Like once you have a set of actions that you take to get a result, and the result initially when you do it is you think it's the nicotine, you think it's the breathing. But in reality, what it could be is you've just trained yourself to when you do these actions, you get a result. Right. So now your body thinks that when you do these actions, you get the result, whether you have the breathing or whether you have the nicotine or whatever. So you can train these triggers into yourself. I know Ed Milet talks about that a lot. It's been pretty interesting to watch him do that and explore it and explain it at a much higher level than I can do here. But I just know that it works, and it's pretty interesting to like look behind the scenes and check it out. But I find that I think that's the key thing you said, like control what you can control and let go of everything else. Because if you don't do that and you try to control the uncontrollable, it's a complete waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of mental bandwidth. There's nothing positive that comes out of it except worry. So if you can train yourself to just, if you can't control something, just let it go. Not only control, I mean influence as well. So like, say you're a passenger in a car, you're not the driver, but you don't like the way the guy's driving. Like, yeah, you can't control the car because you're not driving it, but you can influence the driver. So you can still affect change upon that situation. Be like, hey, bro, going a little fast, I'm a little uncomfortable, the roads are icy or whatever it is, but you can communicate that and hopefully affect the situation even though you can't control the situation. But if you're in a situation where you cannot do anything, like say you're on a plane that's going to go down and it starts catching on fire or whatever, and you're not a pilot and you're like in the back and like, well, you know what? There's literally nothing I can do.
Mhm.
Like, well, all right, well, here we go.
Right.
Take some good selfies on the way down. That's about it, you know? Because there's no sense in worrying about it
Yeah.
if you can't control it and you can't influence it. But I do find that if you can train yourself to eliminate those things, like truly recognize that point where you no longer have control or influence on the situation whatsoever. If you can train yourself to get out of your mind at that moment, you'll find that that does free up a lot of mental bandwidth to find solutions and sometimes pretty unique out of the box solutions to the few things that you can control in that situation. Or maybe outside, like you can't control a certain situation, but maybe there's something else that you can't control that can then, through the movement of this chess piece, integrate with and control or influence this other situation. So just because you can't control or have an effect on one thing doesn't mean there aren't other pieces on the board that you might have access to that can have influence over that one thing. So there's a lot of different ways to spin it, but it starts with identifying what you can't control and just putting it out of your mind. Because if you don't, it's just an overwhelming number of things as a human, like regardless of what you're doing in the day, that are going to be just a fucking tidal wave of anxiety and fucking decisions, you know?
So like my biggest thing is like I've just been really living in the moment. Like my parents, my girlfriend, like they tell me I don't live in the moment. You're just so far ahead of it. And
Girls always say that.
I need you to be present. Yeah.
Later.
Trying to get us there. And
I'm going to be present on a yacht.
Yeah. But that's how I think.
Yeah.
And that's great. I think you should always do that and have that end goal in mind. But I maybe just to me, like, I don't know. But it's having that destination where you're like, I want that financial freedom. I want the money. I want to be able to go do things whenever I want. Like, I want this lifestyle, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I think we get caught up, or at least I get caught up, of like, I need to get there quick because if I don't get there quick, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what scares me because it's the uncertainty of me actually doing it. So the faster it happens, like the more like I can relax and breathe.
Right.
Compared to like, no, I want that lifestyle. Will I want it in 5 years? If someone promised me you'll get it in 5 years, just you got to keep working the way you are, would you still do it? Of course you would. 10 years. Of course you would. 15 years. You get everything you wanted in 15 years. I promise you, if you did that. You keep doing the same thing. It might feel like you're not moving the needle, but in 15 years, you're going to have everything you ever wanted.
Dude, yeah.
You'll go for it because it's a certainty. So for me, I'm like, that's where I'm trying to be at, where it's like you have your checkpoints of like the goals and things that you're going to hit, but don't worry about like that finish line because it's far as fuck, you know? But some people like, they just look so far and like, oh, that's far as fuck. I quit.
Yeah.
And other people like look at it and keep going. And they're like, oh, I'm tired, I quit. Another thing is like, you could just put your, like look down at your feet and just step. I'll eventually get there, step, you know, but you get there.
Dude, Buds is like that, man. Like if you just look at Buds as a whole, like 6-7 months of just fucking basically torture. Like, dude, that's a long way. And that's the mindset a lot of people have that didn't make it, where they're looking at the big picture, looking at the whole thing. And they never chunked it down to the next evolution, the next minute, sometimes the next 10 seconds. But if you look at your life like that, you can get through a lot of shit by just chunking it out into this one next thing. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's an important balance that you have to strike in your own life, where you need to have that mentality of going on the gas all the fucking time, or as much as you can, but also you need to know when to let it off. So say you have like a 5-year goal, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to work balls to the wall, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for 5 fucking years, you know? So I think it's important to find waypoints along the way or checkpoints where you can say, okay, I accomplished this goal, like chunk it out. I accomplished this. I'm going to reward myself. And that could be, you know, your first 10,000, your first 100,000, whatever it is. And cool, I'm going to now, if you have a relationship with someone, hey, hon, we've made our first 100,000. Let's take 3 days and go get an Airbnb in, you know, Palm Springs, and just me and you. We're going to hang out. We're not going to answer the phone. I want you to recognize, I want to show you that this is why I've been working so hard. And so you can help align their goals with your goals, on that thing. But if you just keep putting it off, like, hey, honey, no, we're gonna buy a yacht in 5 years and then we'll do all this shit. I'm like, they don't care about that. They want you right now.
They don't.
Yeah.
That's a trip. They don't.
But if you don't understand what they're asking for, which is reasonable, and if you don't give it to them, they won't fucking be there in 5 years.
Bro, that's such a trip. I was like, I don't hang out with my dad that much, and but that's on me because I constantly think like I want to be able, like one of my dream like goals is like help him retire, but also buy him a Maserati. He loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And damn, dude. And he was like, let's go get sushi. And I was like, I can't, I'm working. But then I realized after I said that, I'm like, he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about how much money you make or give him, or he doesn't. He just wants to go get fucking sushi with you.
Yeah.
He just wants to hang out with you. So for me, I was like, damn, what the fuck are you doing? Like, take those things where it's like you said, you never know in the next day if you'll have them. 5 years, you never know if you're going to have them.
Yeah.
And guess what? Even if you make that much money, you can't get that back.
Yeah, everybody I know who's lost a parent in that exact situation, a lot of times they've made the choice. Like, no, I got to work, I got to grind. But every time they're like, fuck, I wish I would have done the sushi. I wish I would have taken the time.
I called him back and went to go get sushi. Because isn't that moment, I'm like, bro, I can't. Like, that's so stupid. It's a selfish thing because in a way, because what? You want him to have that lifestyle. He's okay. He's fucking happy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I have great kids. I have the best life. Like, I'm chilling. Like, I'm about to retire. Like, I'm good. But for me, I'm like, nah, like you deserve more than that. But he's like, I just want to hang out with you.
Yeah. Happiness comes in different flavors, man.
It's a trip.
Yeah. But it was funny. I was talking with Steven last night and we're talking about that, that thing about like staying on the gas, but also enjoying the journey. And I mean, I know everybody says like balance doesn't exist, but it fucking does. I mean, like you're not working 24 hours for a week straight.
Yeah.
Like you might work one day, 24 hours or a day and a half, but like you have to find balance in order to be sustainable, and you have to sustain a high level of performance for a long time to achieve anything difficult. So by default, you're going to find a pace that is your balance. And I think maybe pace is a better word for it because balance implies like this 50-50 bullshit, which is not realistic. But pace can be relative. And like, so if you want to, run 10 miles, you might be at like, 8-minute pace or something like that. But if you want to run 1 mile or a quarter mile, you're not running an 8-minute pace. You're full on fucking sprinting. So over time, and because the entrepreneurship journey doesn't look like a parallel, it's just not a straight line. It is a graph of like high intensity, low intensity, wins, fails, like all these things. That's kind of how you have to allocate your time. And there will be times where you might need to work a week straight of 20-hour days and to accomplish this goal. But after that, maybe to reset that, you need to go with your chick and spend, 2 days, showing her why this was important and showing her that you're still on the same path together and you're still aligned on the goals. But I was, talking with Steven last night about it and about that balance of wanting so much, but also enjoying the journey. And I told him something that Andy Frisella told me years ago when I was like in the middle of like, we were just in the beginning of our big growth phase. I'm like, fuck, man, we're nowhere near where we want to be. I want to be so big and I want to fucking do this. And like, but I'm having all these problems and I don't know what to do and this and that. And he's like, dude, to be honest, you're a smart dude. You got a good plan. Like you're good at solving problems. Like you'll be fine. Like, I don't know what the answer is, but I know that you'll find an answer and you'll be fine. So my suggestion would be just trust yourself and enjoy the journey. Like don't worry about finding the answer because you will. Just remember what it feels like to be in this place and put a smile on your face and enjoy it. And that's exactly what I told Steven last night, man, because Andy's advice to me is the exact same advice that fits to every entrepreneur who's ever gone through a hard time, which is fucking all of them. Is that like, man, if you're really meant to be an entrepreneur, like you'll find a fucking path. And even if you totally fail and you burn your business to the ground and that actually fails, you'll do something else. You know what I mean? You're only really stoppable when you choose to stop, when you choose to like throw in the towel, like I'm just going to kill myself or something, you know?
Yeah,
but other than that, you'll find another way out. Even if what you were working on was a true dead end. And that happens sometimes where something's just a fucking dead end and you got to go back and you got to work out something else, but you will find something else. And I think just having trust in yourself and faith in yourself is a really big skill for any entrepreneur, but it has to be built. It's like a credit score with yourself that you have to do the things that you tell yourself you're going to do. And if you do that enough, you'll start to believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you develop confidence. You develop confidence, other people see it. And pretty soon, like you'll gain momentum and you'll be able to do a lot of these big things. But yeah, you also just got to stop and smell the roses sometimes, man.
Dude, I was a little off topic, but I went on a 4-mile run a week ago.
It's a long run for me these days.
I hate running. I can sprint all day. Running back growing up, my whole life, like I can sprint. I love 40-yard, fucking just do that over and over. I could do it. Running's a huge thing for me. So me and my homie, we were supposed to do it last year or 2 years ago. COVID happened and it stopped at Rock and Roll in San Diego Marathon. So this year I'm doing it. So I was like, oh, you gotta start going. You
a whole marathon?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long way, bro.
It is. Because I was going to go do it. And then COVID said, no, we can't do it.
26.4?
26.
That's a long way to drive. Let alone
And so I was like, all right, well, let's go for it. Like let's go do 4. Because that's what I was doing when I was training. I was like, I'll just start 4. Dude, oh my God. I was dying. And I got to the point where I didn't time it. My watch, like I can't do, that's one thing about Apple Watches. Like sometimes like I forget to push go because I'm so eager to fucking go. So I didn't time, unfortunately, but I got to the point where I was exhausted. I was like, probably have another mile left, like 4 more laps. And I was doing a walk jog where you're jogging, but it's the same speed that you could walk. But the thing in my mind was I kept thinking of you, whereas the can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful. And
it works.
It got me so emotional because it's like, can't stop, won't stop.
Just match it to your footsteps.
Can't stop, won't stop. And it was just like, oh, 4 laps later, I was like, oh, I'm fucking done. That was horrible. And but I did it. Compared to, like I said, okay, like 2.5 mile or 3 miles is fine. It's like, no, but I accomplished was 4.
Yeah.
You know?
You're making deposits, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works, dude. Yeah, I do. I hadn't ran in, probably like a year and a half. And then I was like, I got to try it. So I tried, I ran like 2 miles after not running in a long time. I was like, dang, dude, that was like, I mean, it made it. It was like around 7-minute pace or something like that. But I was like, my legs hurt, bro. Like, wow, not used to it. But it was a thing, dude. That's 2 miles.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Fuck, man.
But see, like, not even for me, dude. Not even a 7-minute pace. To me, that's fast. Like, to me, like, mine's way higher than that. But it's the thing. It's like, I'm not competing with anybody else besides myself. No one gives a fuck I ran 4 miles. No one gives a fuck I do a marathon. No one cares. You know, it's just, now it's like, I need to go stack those wins for myself. You know? Exactly,
dude. Exactly. I did. I set a few goals for myself. I'm turning 45 in like a week. And I set a few goals for myself. I wanted to run a sub 630 mile, which I did. I wanted to be able to bench 3 plates, squat 4 plates, and deadlift 5 plates. So I got the bench early in the year. I got the deadlift just the other day, and I'm like 10 pounds off on the squat. So I've got like 1 more lifting session before I turn 45. And I'm like, these are not big numbers by powerlifting at all. Like for my size and weight, like 6'1", 230, 235, I should be lifting way more if I was a power lifter. But I've always been a good runner and not good at sprinting and not very strong. So for me, these are like, definitely like PRs. These are like lifetime PRs.
But that's the point.
Yeah, but I'm pretty proud. I'm like, dude, getting these are like, okay, I do all these at 44. I'm still running a sub 630 mile at 230 pounds. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people doing a lot better, but me personally, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. As long as I nail the 405 squat next week, I got to do that. Otherwise I'll feel fucking pretty bad.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. It just reminds me back in the beginning if someone saw like a rock and roll marathon shirt. do you even run a marathon? Fuck off. Like, how much do you even bench, dog? Like, it's the same people. Don't, just perfect circle.
No,
Don't be that person.
Right. It's just for you, man. These goals are just for you. But it's always the same fucking basement dwelling neckbeard motherfuckers. They're like, oh, this and that, all fucking nerdy about it. I'm like, dude, I bring back bullying, man. You gotta drop kick some of these motherfuckers. Like, shut up, dork.
Hard. Oh, man.
All right.
I like this one. I like every single episode, but it's just like this one was a great one because I feel like it's a lot. It wasn't hands-on, tangible or anything like that, but I know a lot of people are facing it. You know?
Dude, yeah, it's a big thing, man. And
the year's coming up.
It feels lonely, dude. It feels really lonely and stressful. And it's like a spiral of loneliness and stress. And fuck, dude, it's just nice to talk to somebody else about it. So yeah, if you guys are listening, go DM some people in your town and put together a dinner and just go fucking meet some other people. It's a great time to do it too. Holidays, I mean, most entrepreneurs are not very tight with their family. So they end up like grinding, the grind and then hustling. But it's kind of nice to just go like, hey man, let's go have a drink or a beer or coffee, tea or something. But just reach out to somebody, man. Go out there, talk to somebody you don't know. I know it's stressful and anxiety, but now you have the tools to get through that. What's the worst fucking thing that could happen? Yeah. You're like, no. They're not gonna be like, fuck you, nerd.
Drop kick.
Unless you DM me, it might be, fuck you, nerd. I'm just kidding. I'm a nice guy. I'm pretty nice.
Ryan's a nice fellow.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of DM, we'd love to field some more questions from you guys. So these are we're sharing conversations that we've had with our friends and people that we talk to. But I know there's a lot of you guys out there that have these, problems or things that you're working through in your own company. I'm telling you, fucking DM us those problems and we will help you fix them.
Exactly.
Yeah, just don't put me on a text thread.
Oh my God, dude. I can't imagine putting you on text thread. Unless I let someone know and it's one person in that thread and I asked you, can I introduce you in a text thread?
I know. It's funny because like some of my good friends actually do that. I know they're probably going to listen and think I'm talking about them. No, they're cool. But I prefer it if it was WhatsApp.
I know sometimes like people put me usually it's like family, which is great. I love you guys. But they'll throw me a text thread and then they name the thread like fucking family. I'm like, I can't. I'm not participating.
Mute.
My mom's like, is that on mute? Like, you're not texting us back. I'm like,
oh, sorry.
Services ass.
Been grinding.
Exactly.
I've been going to Blink-182 concerts.
Gotta listen to their music so I can wear this fucking shirt. All right, man.
Dude, sometimes I'm wearing a shirt out. I'll Google songs from the thing just so somebody says something. I got something like, fuck you. We wear a Slayer shirt. You know what I mean? Like, Raining Blood, motherfucker. From the Raining Blood album. Suck a dick.
It's a funny thing is because when I put this shirt on, I was like, damn, now do I have to listen to an album while I drive down here in case someone asks me this shit? Even though like I could name I could name a whole bunch of songs.
But it's like we talked about, what's the worst case scenario? I'm like, but it's worth 10 seconds of me researching it to get that out of my mind. Now I'm not worried about it. Now I'm ready for them to do it. So I'm like, oh yeah, motherfucker. All right, cool. Or you some fucking verbal kung fu. Fuck you up.
Or you could just look at him and say, fuck you, dork. Either one.
Yeah,
whatever you want to do.
You got to bring it back. Bring it back.
All right.
Cool. Good.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Shake and bake.
Shake and bake.